Today is World Day for Cultural Diversity, and Britannia Panopticon is celebrating diversity from the silent film era. For today's clip, we are looking at the silent cinema from around the globe. We would like to highlight a selection of silent movies that have survived. The first one we'll be looking at is New Women from China. Released in Shanghai in 1935 by the Lunhua Film Company, one of the top production companies in Shanghai. The film was directed by Cai Xucheng, the first Chinese director to win an international film award. It stars one of the top leading actresses of Chinese silent cinema, Ruan Lingyu, nicknamed the Chinese Greta Garbo. She plays the role of Wai Ming, a music teacher living in Shanghai in the 1920s. She has a dream to be a successful writer and an independent woman with her own goals. The film uses outstanding visuals to depict the social constraints of women at the time and of Wai Ming's determination for equality and recognition, to be the woman she wants to be, and the danger of mindless rumours. New Women has become one of the classics of 1930s Chinese cinema. With its use of superimpositions, dissolves and artistic cinematography, this is a film we definitely recommend for film buffs. The next film we'll be looking at is Throw of Dice, produced in 1929. Most Indian silent movies have been lost, however a few German-Indian collaborations still remain intact. Produced by Himanshu Rai and written by Indian playwright Niranjan Pal, it was directed by Franz Osten and is considered to be the greatest achievement for Indian and German collaboration. The production used over 10,000 extras, 1,000 horses and 50 elephants, which were provided by the royal houses of Jaipur, Udaipur and Mysore, and it was shot on location in Rajasthan. With its cinematographic shots, lavish costumes and extravagance, it's often compared to the works of Cecil B. DeMille. The film starred Himanshu Rai as King Sohan and Sita Devi as the beautiful hermit's daughter, Sunita. The story is based on one of the Sanskrit epics of India, and it tells the tale of two neighbouring Indian kingdoms which are ruled by cousins, King Ranjit and King Sohat. Both men have fallen in love with the same woman, however unbeknownst to Ranjit, Sohat is plotting to seize control of his kingdom. Highly recommended. The next movie we'll be looking at is a silent comedy film produced in 1932 in Japan called I Was Born But. Silent movies had been popular in Japan since the turn of the century and featured live traditional music but also narration that was known as benshi, a theatrical style of narration which is still in use today. The film was written and directed by Yasujiro Uzo, who is often regarded as one of the world's most influential directors of all time. His film Tokyo Story is frequently cited as one of the greatest films ever made. I Was Born But features the beginning of Uzu's technical ingenuity, his distinct style that becomes well known throughout his later films. I Was Born But is a coming-of-age comedy that tells the story of the financial and psychological toils of one average family in Japan. The film focuses on a group of young rascals, the difficulties they face with their new life in the suburbs, and their realisation that their father isn't the most important man in his workplace. One of Uzu's first films to win Kinema Junpa Award for Best Film of the Year. Our next movie we're looking at is Within Our Gates from 1919, directed by Oscar Micheaux. Micheaux is regarded as the first major African American feature filmmakers. Within Our Gates stars Evelyn Prior, a star of the silver screen. She was also a well-known playwright and a jazz and blues singer. In this film, she portrays Sylvia Landry, a young mixed-race woman, as she takes a fundraising trip to Boston in hopes of raising money to keep a southern school for impoverished black children open to the public. She then meets a warm-hearted Dr. Vivian, who falls in love with Sylvia and travels with her back to the south. Their romance ultimately leads to revelations about her family's past. Within Our Gates was produced on a low budget of $15,000. It was an original screenplay written by Micheaux himself. Due to the low costs and one takes, it was photographed at friends' homes using borrowed props and costumes. It's a movie with many layers. It may not be an easy film to watch, but it does not shy away from the political issues of that time. It was considered lost, and it was restored in 1993 from a single known surviving print from Spain. Another one to highly recommend. The next movie is The Grey Car, also from 1919, one of the most famous silent movies to be produced in Mexico and restored by Mexico's Cineteca Nacional. The film was produced and directed by Enrique Rosas, who founded the first film production company in Mexico. This story is based on real events that took place in 1915 and was originally shown as a 12-part serial. It stars Juan Manuel Cabrera as himself, a real-life detective on the hunt for Eugenio Granada, leader of a criminal gang that were notorious for committing crimes in rented cars. He had just escaped prison in the revolution after a cannon had broken the cell wall. The film itself contains a mix of melodrama and real-life footage and used genuine locations where the gang had committed their crimes. Controversially, at the end, it depicts real footage of the execution of the gang that terrorised Mexico City. The film is considered to be one of the most important silent movies to be produced in Mexico and is one of the few surviving movies of its kind.